Life is about shedding the darkness and embracing the light of knowledge. So let's get together and awaken our minds. Hello friends, welcome to the series of videos on awakening the mind. My name is Dr. Aakash Ahuja and I'm a psychiatrist here in Los Angeles, California in the United States. I did my medical school from Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi in India, and did my residency in psychiatry from Minneapolis, which is in the state of Minnesota in United States. We will be talking about a topic today which relates to our kids. We all know that kids are such an integral and important part of our life. They are a bundle of joy, we love them, and we want them to succeed in every possible way. In school, in college, everywhere they go. That's the dream which our parents had for us, and that's the dream we have for our children. Sometimes our kids don't achieve what they are supposed to do or supposed to achieve. And we cannot fix every problem our children have. But there are certain things which can impact our children and which are due to some neurochemical imbalance or some psychiatric problem. And one of those problems which can really immensely affect their life, affect the way they study in school and act in the social situation is known as ADHD. Basically, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So what is ADHD again? ADHD is a disorder in which the kid, as the name suggests, shows the symptoms of being inattentive and hyperactive, and they don't do well in school, they don't finish their homework, they blurt out the answers, they're not the favorite students of the teachers, and teachers might say that, oh, this kid is like sloppy and he doesn't do his work, he's lazy, or this kid is like always fighting and not doing well with the other kids. The teacher and the parents might not understand that, well, it's not the desire of the kid to be like that, but it's a real possibility that they have a disease known as ADHD. That's a bad part. The good part is that it can be treated. Anyway, let's talk about ADHD a little bit more in details. I prepared some slides here and I'll be going through them. So we'll be discussing attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And okay, what is ADHD? ADHD actually affects 3 to 5% of children in the world. So let's say if a class has 50 students, then close to two children will be affected by that. And if one of those children is yours, then it really becomes an issue. ADHD can be very difficult for the kids and for the parents because it increases the chances of kids to get into fights, to get into accidents, to get into problems in school with homework and with those fights. Those kids sometimes don't get love and appreciation because they don't do well, and that can lead them to become anxious or depressed and get into drugs and alcohol. So what are the causes of ADHD? Well, first thing I want you guys to think is that don't think that it's your fault. Please focus on what you can do to help your kid if he has ADHD. ADHD certainly has a hereditary part. Many of us, the parents, actually had ADHD symptoms which might have never been diagnosed when we were young, and somehow we did okay or not so okay. And then that increases the chances of our kid getting ADHD by at least 4 times. It can also be genetic. Some studies have shown that these kids have somewhat a thinner brain tissue in the areas in front of the brain which regulate the attention part, and as they grow up, then those deficits go away. It can also be due to environmental toxins, like some old homes have lead, and if mothers smoke cigarettes and expose the child to nicotine while they were still in the uterus, that can increase the chances of a kid becoming or having ADHD. If kids develop some brain damage due to some head injury or accident, that can also lead to symptoms which are very similar to ADHD. So let's review some of the symptoms of ADHD in detail. ADHD symptoms can be divided actually into three big categories: inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. So in inattention, children have difficulty organizing the things. So if the teacher or the parent gives them a task, then they might start doing it. But if it involves 3 or 4 steps, then they might have real difficulty in doing that. For example, if the teacher tells them to go to floor number 3, office number 9, and get some crayons, they might lose it. It's very hard for them to organize what they need to do to accomplish that task. Again, difficulty completing things. They might start coloring a picture, a beautiful painting, and then they get distracted. They might see a bird chirping outside in the window, and they might just start looking at it, and they might totally forgot of what task is going on. Even if it's their monthly or yearly test, they cannot complete it. Not that they are lazy and they don't want to, they do, but somehow they lose it because they have this problem. Then they have difficulty with homework, almost the same reason. They come home and they are willing to do the homework, but somehow they get distracted by different things, even the small things which you might think that, oh, that's so trivial and how can that distract somebody? Actually, it can to them. Then they don't pay attention to details. Even if, let's say, again, they are painting a picture, they might paint it and they might paint it okay, but they might leave some spots here and there. Not again because they cannot do that. It's just that somehow their mind does not tell them to pay attention to the details. Let's discuss something about the hyperactivity. Now, I forgot to mention a little bit that inattention symptoms are usually due to lack of balance of a neurochemical in the brain known as norepinephrine, and hyperactivity is usually due to imbalance in a chemical known as dopamine. And as we go on to medications, we'll discuss about that later on. So when people are hyperactive, then they are always on the go and they just keep on running around. It's very hard for them to sit down at one place. They will tap their hands or they will tap their feet and they just cannot control it. They try to do several things at once. They will start painting a picture, then they might start watching cricket, or they might start watching a movie. They might start like a project of making a wood box. They might start helping their mom in the kitchen. So many things at once. And again, people call them, oh, they're just lazy or they just don't know how to do things. It's just that it's very hard for them to maneuver things around. Let's discuss about impulsivity. That becomes a problem in school, that they don't want to take turns. They just cannot. They cannot wait. If somebody is standing in a line, they cannot tolerate that line portion. They blurt out the answers, they blurt out things, and sometimes that's the reason that they got into fight with the other kids. They might snatch somebody's lunch or something like that. Not because again they want to make sure that the other person gets pain or something, but it's just that they cannot control it. They talk excessively and they act without thinking about consequences. They might climb a tree and then, because they are so hyperactive and impulsive, might jump and break their leg because they are not even thinking about the consequences. Guys, I just want to touch a little bit about that. Usually people can have these symptoms, but ADHD can be diagnosed only if preferably these symptoms are seen before the age of 7, and these symptoms are not seen in one particular situation. They are just not seen in school. or they are seen only at home. If they are seen both at home and school and other person's home, then yes, then they might have ADHD. Also, to keep in mind is that if these symptoms start after like a major family disaster or event, like death of a parent or something very tragic, then keep in mind that this might not be ADHD and might something else might be going on with these kids. Also, always rule out some medical causes. For example, if somebody is having hard time hearing because they have an ear infection and they are not able to concentrate in class, doesn't mean they have ADHD. It means that they have an infected ear. So please treat that rather than just jumping on the conclusion that they have ADHD. So things like that should be kept in mind. Friends, let's focus on the treatment options for ADHD. Again, the good thing is that ADHD is definitely treatable and the results are very quick. Unlike the medications for depression, ADHD medications work very fast. Some of the medications which can be used are amphetamine salts, dextroamphetamine salts, atomoxetine, and methylphenidate. These medications actually work on the receptors which are norepinephrine, dopamine, which basically lead to inattentiveness and hyperactivity respectively. And these medications can be extremely helpful. Again, talk to your doctor, talk to your pediatrician, your psychiatrist to start these medications, but it's worth considering. Other treatment modalities which can be used are psychotherapy and behavior modifications. We can help a child to take turns. We can help a child to make him understand that he has to sit in the class while the teacher is teaching, and tell him that look, you have this problem of ADHD, but if you do that, it doesn't look good in the class, and if you do well, we are going to reward you, and that's going to help you, rather than just blaming the child that look, you're not doing this and you're not doing that. So I think again, being supportive and telling exact behavior to do might help the child. Other things which parents can do is reward them for finishing work. So if they are painting a picture and they do not leave the spots, then the kids should be rewarded. Keep the same schedule. So if the kid comes back to home at 2 o'clock and then sleeps and then does the homework and then plays, try to keep the things same. Don't make the schedule so complex and keep on changing it day after the other. Having the same schedule might help them to figure it out that okay, these are some of the behaviors which are expected of me, and they will definitely try hard to accomplish that. Place the things at the same place. If their paint brushes, cricket bat, ball, pads should be placed in similar places, that will also help them with their ADHD symptoms. And update the teachers, it's very important. ADHD is not a bad thing if you tell the teachers that look, this is what my son or daughter is dealing with. So the teachers are aware that this is the real situation the child is dealing with, and it's not like the child is sloppy and the parents are doing a bad job and that the kid is not good. It's actually that they really deal with this realistic disorder, and parents are trying hard along with the kid to do well. I've included some of the resources here, and I noted some of the celebrities which have ADHD and have done very well in their lives. For example, the singer Justin Timberlake, the swimmer, the Olympic record holder Michael Phelps, Will Smith and Jim Carrey all have documented ADHD, and they have done much more fantastic, at least than me, in their lives. Friends, again, our kids are so important for us, and we want really to help them to succeed, and one of the barriers for them not to get success is ADHD. Let's defeat ADHD, let's educate ourselves, and let's make the life of our kids brighter. Thank you for listening to the video.